Don't believe in aliens, they're never going to land. Don't believe in cryptids that leave footprints in the sand. Don't believe in spirits appearing from the dead. The only demons out there are living in your head. Dream crusher, the Lord of non-belief. If you can't prove it, no one can get right. Hard to breathe for a decade skeptic. We all know what that means. He's lurking in the shadows and crushing on your dreams. Dream crusher, the Lord of non-belief. If you can't prove it, no one can get right. Hard to breathe for a decade skeptic. We all know what that means.
What's up, everybody? It is Friday night. The Skeptical Hope Bar is open. Woo! I am excited. I'm excited. Tonight's going to be fun. It kind of looks different. I don't know why.
It looks blurry.
Does it look blurry?
Yes.
Or is it me?
No, it looks blurry.
Maybe I'm Bigfoot.
It looks
Maybe.
blurry.
Do I look blurry? Is that better? I don't know. Or maybe I'm fuzzy. That's what it is. I'm fuzzy. I got a little fudge going on, making me look like Bigfoot. All right, tonight we got a lot of people. Holy crap. See what happens? I get Beardo to come on, and he brings his whole entourage. I got a whole bunch of people. I usually try to go down the list and say hi to a lot of people, but there's tons of people. Shauna, I see in the house. Elise is here. We got, oh my God, Chris Slike. We got people. I'm looking. Oh my gosh, there's Scottish Pride. Mrs. Geek is in the house. Good to see you. Thanks for staying awake. Jade Kitten's in the house. Rabba is here. That's awesome to see. Jennifer, Cynthia. Oh my goodness. Meg, Cheza. Pam. There's so many people. Cat Max in the house. It's date night, Cat. That's right. Fantastic Publishing, who did that song you heard in the beginning. That's awesome. There's so many people here. Bad to the Bone. Oh my goodness. There's tons of people. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. We're going to have a discussion tonight. But because of that, let me go over the rules, because there has to be rules. Let me go over the rules. The rules are, rule number 1 is that you are welcome to ask questions. This is a learning show. It's what it's about. We get to learn. If I don't know the answer, we'll share the screen. We'll try to figure it out together. And if not, I write it down in my notebook, and then I'll look it up during the week. Rule number 2 is that I don't know everything, but we can learn together. That's the point of this show. I know a lot about a bunch of things. Actually, no, I said that wrong. I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I don't know a lot about everything. I don't know, something like that, some shit like that. Anyway, so if I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know, and we'll move on from there. And then also I have a couple guests tonight, and they don't know everything. So be patient if they don't know. Rule number 3 is that we follow the Patrick Swayze rule here, and that's be nice. You can have discussions in the chat room. You can debate. You can disagree. That's cool. But don't devolve into name calling. I won't put up with it. And if you start causing a ruckus, Donna, who is right over there.
Yeah, I'm here.
She will boot your ass out of the chat forever.
Because we don't know how to get you back.
That's right. We have no fucking clue. So you're just done forever. Anyway, rule number 4 is that if you do have a question, please do us a favor and put a capital Q in front of it. For this show, we usually wait until the second hour to do questions. But for this show, because it's more of an open discussion kind of panel thing that we're going to do, Donna's going to put up some of the questions as they come through. Hopefully, we'll get to all of them. If not, I apologize. Rule number 5, my favorite, drink up. I got some special tea going on. Oh, that shit's good. I love that. All right. So with that, I'm going to switch to a thinner banner because I have a couple guests coming on. And let's see. Let me get it right here. There we go. Look at this. Hello. We got Beardo.
Hello.
We got Joe and Dawn.
Hello.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Staying up really late to go out on a live stream from the U.S.
1 a.m. hanging around with my American friends. I'm living the dream.
I appreciate it. So we're talking about the Conjuring House tonight. It's something I don't usually. I haven't done themed shows in a while. That's usually because stuff like this, you guys cover it so well. I mean, you both have channels, you both do videos, and you address the drama that happens or the videos that come out and shit like that. So you guys address it pretty well, and I stick to just the research. I stick to the research. This is my file on the Conjuring House. So all the
because you're a nerd.
I am. Can you not tell?
Oh, you think that's bad? You should see. I won't bring up specifically what, but the mess I got myself into with the location.
Because we're all nerds.
Yeah.
But
I'm just the nerd that says, Kenny, I can't do this. How?
What is this? And we are working. I mean, you mentioned earlier in your live that about the REM pod thing, and Joe has been kind enough to put some videos together, and we've been working back and forth and kind of tweaking ideas and details and stuff. So, I mean, I think it's doable. I think it's definitely doable.
Right. Dawn doesn't know it until now that she's going to actually help me with
Good.
that.
Yay.
I need a second person for that.
So.
Does it involve bending over and using the REM pod?
That's later.
Okay.
Oh,
No, I
So-
meant something else, but Joe took that. Never mind. I was trying
So
to-
yeah, tonight's about the Conjuring House, and we're talking about it because I have been asked a lot of questions lately about what I think of this and that, and like the owner and the alleged spirits and the manager that recently got fired, and then all the other stuff. And I figured, might as well just have fun tonight. I didn't have a guest coming on that was planned ahead of time. It's like spur moment idea. Let's get together and just talk about it. So I guess we'll start with like overall thoughts. Like what do you think about, I guess, the business since it's been offered to ghost hunters and tourists a few years ago up until now? Like, what are your overall summary of the thoughts? And we'll go from there. And we'll see if anybody has questions that pop in the chat. But Beardo, I'll let you go first.
I think initially it started out the right way. There were people like Joe and Matt that went to the house without any of the dramatics, any of the BS. And later teams have gone there and said, we're the first to do this 5 days at the Conjuring House. We're the first to do that. And it's like, you've just bypassed these guys and stepped all over them, and that's out of order.
And real quick, there was a team that was actually there that filmed a documentary who were there for 2 weeks. They were the first.
Yeah. And it's that overstepping the smaller channels is wrong. But it seemed to be you could go there because of a history or a reported history, do an investigation, no nonsense, no silliness, and then at the end of the day, you put out a video. Did things happen? Didn't things happen? Right, cool, job done. On to the next.
Right.
And since October last year, nothing, absolutely nothing, is about that house and its potential hauntings. It's all about the owner. It's all about Cody and Satori. And I'm guilty of it. I covered it all because it was huge.
Right.
But you get these YouTubers that go in there, the biggest YouTubers on the platform for the paranormal, that absolutely blow everything out of proportion, dude bro in, and all the stuff that annoys me. The owners are like, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. Let's price everybody else out and just get these guys in. And then when it all falls apart, say, I'm evil, I'll sue Beardo. This person is evil, that person is evil. Jason Hawes, he tried to shoot me. What? Can we please just go back to this place? Maybe haunted, it may not be. Let's have fun going in there.
Right. Mrs. Geek, thank you for the 20. That's pounds, right? Is that what that is? 20 pounds.
Yeah,
It's sea cells and rocks.
We don't deal in green beans. We've evolved.
Thank you, Mrs. Geek. I appreciate it very much. Joe, Joe and Dawn, like, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? And then maybe we can get into specifics.
So, first went there back in 2020, like right when the country shut down. Literally, we were there the day the country shut down because of COVID.
Right.
The previous owners, Jen and Corey, they were awesome. They were awesome people. They were good to us. It was $125 a person, which that's kind of high, but it's nothing to really complain too much about, considering.
So what did you get? What was that for?
Oh, that was to film, investigate,
okay,
everything, inside, outside, basically almost anything that we want to do. Of course, there are rules, so it's not like we can just like hang off the ceiling or some shit and act stupid. And it was, I think it's fair, all things considering. This is what the place is. It's the Conjuring House. Like, holy crap! And we were actually, among, and when I say, I'm kind of being to a certain point a little sarcastic in such a way, but it was awesome. I'll say that. But like I said, 125 a person, and being able to go investigate the outside and doing whatever.
Right.
It was great. And I'll tell you right now, I ended up paying, and this is with a plus one, which is an extra 150, but that plus one couldn't go. I ate that one, whatever, not a big deal. It cost me $1,536.80. And then on top of that, now this is under the new owner. On top of that, Weeping Willow Paranormal, because she is a content creator, they only allow 2 content creators at any given time of night. She had to pay, and this is an American, not Canadian, but $935.
On top of what you paid?
Yes.
What?
Oh, I'm not kidding. I can show you the receipt. If you want, I can screen share the receipt.
So that's $2,500 just for you. How many people?
It was 6. Side-eye guy,
Your son,
my son, you, and Weeping Willow.
and then 2.
That's insane. That's
Yeah, so-
insane. I mean, you can get an Airbnb. You can get a hotel or Airbnb for an entire week at like a tourist resort, like a beach resort for that kind of money. And
For even less than that, to be honest, if you look hard enough and you find a sweet deal, yeah.
right.
You could buy a shit car that would last for 2 years for that.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I know. I got one sitting in the driveway.
That's
And we were restricted. We could not go outside and investigate because that was the plan. Let side-eye guy, do his live stream, whatever. We'll go outside and we'll just investigate. Instead, we had to basically stay still for like an hour or whatever it was, while he went and did his whole comedy bit, basically.
So why couldn't you go outside? What was the reason for that?
They told us something. I think it had something to do with the neighbors or something like that. But Kenny, you've been there. The neighbors are far away.
The neighbors are far away. They have camping sites outside.
Yeah,
Right.
you can pay to camp there. So are those people not allowed to snore or fart?
Yeah. Then they're like something
Didn't
about
mention
bears and shit. Like I'm like, we have bears
Bigfoot?
here. We had. Oh yeah, they did mention Bigfoot and aliens. Can't forget aliens.
Well,
I'm not
aliens-
kidding.
I know aliens were part of it because at the end of, I guess, Andrea Perrin, when she was doing her touring and when she ran out of stories, pretty much everyone heard her stories already. Then she added the UFO sightings. And that became part of the interview where she claimed to have seen UFOs. Not just one, but a fleet of UFOs out while standing out in that field out in the back.
Is there a mall or something like that close by to the Conjuring House that we don't know about?
Yeah, not that I know of.
No.
Nothing that would warrant like a whole bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, for me,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say
I'm sorry,
that,
Dawn.
when we were on with Brian and Jason, and when Cody and Satori were in the chat, they had mentioned that week the owner decided nobody on the grounds, but the weeks before and weeks after, they were allowed. So they said that the rules would change for certain people and wouldn't be fair for everybody.
Yeah, your head. I see your face, Beardo. You're like, like
Yeah, I mean, apart from the fact that, right, even if you take the hauntings out of that house, historically it's significant. It's very old, very beautiful building on land. It's not often you can go to a building that old and just film yourself walking about there and then looking for experiences where, and all of it being overshadowed by like, yeah, pay me $2,500 and then we'll see what else we can add on top of you. And by the way, I'm watching your footage before you put anything online, including a trailer.
Yep.
What?
And don't forget about the gift shop.
And we weren't allowed. We didn't even know we couldn't check out the grounds until that night.
Right.
They were like, nope, you can't do it.
that.
I mean,
that pisses me off that you paid $2,500 and that's not even a guarantee for the content creator pricing. That's not even a guarantee you're going to be able to actually post your content.
Right.
You got to go through whatever process, and that annoyed. That's why I was, as soon as I heard that, I was like, no, well, I'm never going. I'm never.
Imagine they paid that, and then Jacqueline had looked at the content and gone, "Hang on, Sheep and Beardo are friends," or the Sheep is friends with, or sorry, Joe is friends with Beardo, who's friends with the side-eye guy. Hang on, Jason Hawes.
I feel the spirit of John Arnold.
Yeah,
telling me, no, you can't post your content.
John Arnold said you can't post it because you're friends with that guy that can't be asked to shave, and you've lost $2,500. That's just for the house. Never mind the travel, the flights for some people. Wow.
Well, the side-eye guy was coming out here anyway, so it was just a good opportunity to do something like that. And to be honest with you, we honestly almost backed out and almost got our money back because there were other locations that we could go to that were cheaper and would allow all of us to film without an issue.
That's a good point,
So,
John.
yeah, John, absolutely. So we almost did back out of it, but then we decided to go ahead and go forward with it. It's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, like for the side-eye guy. I've been there 4 times. But I mean, there's not anything. Okay, so it's historical, it has this story to, not the Bathsheba shit, because that's not even real. But it has a cool history, whatever, but it's not. What made the house special were the previous owners. That's what made it special. And I've always said that a location owner can make the difference at a haunted location. They really and truly can. Now, excuse me, when we went there, Brian, which is weird because we met Brian. He was
I did too. I did too. Yeah.
And he was great. He said, hey, this whole Bathsheba Sherman story is not true. And, when he talked about what the house, what the materials used to build the house, like wood stakes or something like that. and just other little things about the house. It was really cool. He was great.
So, good. You're going to say something, Vero?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I mean, for me, I went there. I had an opportunity. A friend of mine reached out, Carl Johnson, who was one of the original people that were there during the beginning of the alleged events.
We met both brothers. Yeah.
So Carl and I, we talk pretty often. But he said, hey, would you like to come out? I think I can arrange it and get a day tour. And he covered it, which it was $25 to get in for a day tour, which I was like, all right, maybe that's an opportunity for me. I've never been there. I'll get in, I'll walk around. I figured it was going to be like a half-hour tour where they give you some history, you walked around everything, and then they, you booted out for the next tour. So I showed up and was able to walk the grounds a little bit, got inside, got a tour, which, to be honest, I had issues with. And again, I don't do the ghost hunting thing so much as the historical research. So, and again, that's good 3-inch thick file there that I have historical information on. So when they were telling me things about on the tour, I was like, that's not right. That's not right at all. But I got about 40 minutes to walk around the house. They got the tour done and then said, you have about 40 minutes. Go ahead and take as many pictures as you want. I was like, all right, well, good. This gives me the opportunity. I went up, I checked out the rocking chair, Joe, that's in the documentary that you guys had. I looked at that for a little bit. I looked at the floorboards. I went into the bedroom, the one bedroom that I call the bouncy house room because scared the fuck out of me walking in there. I walked in, no lie. I think the floor bounced like a good 4 inches or so. And
is that 4 inches in the States?
Look
Go
down.
to the States.
If you look down, that's about
7 foot.
But I walked in first. I was the first one in there. And I could feel like this. I'm like, holy shit. And I turn around. I'm like, there's 15 other people walking in this room. I'm not staying in here. There's no way. I walked back out into the middle bedroom because I was like, there's no way. I was worried that the floor was actually going to crack or fall in because it was so bad.
Yeah, that's the room with the chalkboard in it.
Yeah. And the end tables where I've seen so many videos on YouTube where people put Matchbox cars and stuff and, somebody takes a step and it falls off. And I know why. Because it literally wobbles like that.
When we were there real quick, Crow did a video on overnight being there and they did the whole thing with that little table. So when we went there, I went ahead and I filmed, that whole situation. And I actually, before we even started filming, we were just doing the tour. We walked in the room, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And then I took the car and I just turned it a little bit and it started to roll off the that table. I'm like, oops, I debunked that.
Yeah. I mean, I did it when I walked in on my way out because I literally took maybe 4 steps in, realized I don't want to be here, turned around and tried to walk back through the people coming in. And that's when one of the cars on that end table fell off. And then I walked over to it. Once I was sure it wasn't going to cave in, I walked over to it and just stood there and kind of just went like this. Mm-hmm. And the whole table, you could see it moving a few inches back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's
almost like it's in an earthquake.
Right. And one thing I wanted to say, I'm really, I was saving this for the article that I'm working on, but it annoys the shit out of me. So, and this is jumping ahead a little bit. Everybody's talking about John Arnold. So the owner keeps saying John Arnold told her this, John Arnold told her that, and that the idea is like the ghost died in 1839, and that's actually the wrong date. He didn't die in 1839, and here's the kicker: he died in 1837, so 2 years prior. And on the website, and I'm gonna share the screen because I want everyone to see this, because this is the kind of shit that pisses me off sometimes. The laziness that happens.
How long did it take you to find the original date? Just
Probably
because
like 10
Ozzy,
seconds.
he owns the house and is promoting the house and all the rest of it. So it is her due diligence to get this shit right.
So that's the date they put up. And if you look at this headstone, which is his headstone, right here, it says 1837. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit so you can see it. Can you read that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1837. And the born on date is also wrong. He was born in 73, not 76. And then the same thing with Abigail. They have her birth date as 1778 and then death date at 1867. Abigail was born in 1776 and died in 1869.
Oh my God.
So the reason I'm showing this, the reason this annoys me so much, and I don't know anyone else out there, I research historical documents all the time. This is half of my job, is going through documents like this. And to see it on their website where the picture is right fucking next to the text that they got wrong just boggles my mind. And there's a lot.
Embarrassment.
It is an embarrassment. It really is. And it shows the laziness and the lack of fact checking that's going on with that.
Or a step further, the lack of care for the actual history. If you're going to own that place, charge people to come there because of the history, factual, or, movie or whatever. Get the real people right out of a bit of respect and decency. A, for your paying customers. B, for the people that built the place and fucking died.
Right.
And you've got the basics wrong. It just reeked.
Well,
Total disrespect.
because the Arnold family, the Arnold last name was like almost everybody's last name on that area seemed like it was freaking Arnold.
There's a lot of Arnolds. Yes.
Yeah. People were saying, this kid and mother or something, like I can't remember the story. You would remember better than me, but they drank some horse medication or something like that, and they died. Yeah, and they died in the house, and then this girl got her throat cut open for whatever reasons, and they were connecting it to the house. And I'm looking because we were doing the documentary, and I'm looking, and I'm like, these Arnolds don't live in the house, and I don't even think that they're related in any way, because I'm not seeing them in like the family tree.
So those stories, to be honest, I put the blame on Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
I keep going back to Rocky. Andrea. I keep going back to her because her books that came out, the first book came out in 2011, which is 2 years before the movie came out. And
Funny though.
She put the blame on Bathsheba. She put all these other deaths and suicides in the house, and it just didn't happen. I mean, the Prudence Arnold, which is the young girl, the 12-year-old that had her throat cut. She put in the kitchen and had her dying in the kitchen, and also kind of leading or alluding to her being raped in this house. Wasn't even the right town. Like, there's newspaper articles. It was called the Umbridge tragedy because it happened in Umbridge, not in Burrillville. It happened in a completely different town, miles and miles and miles away. And there wasn't any rape, but there was an inquest. The guy was tried and found guilty, but still, like that, so much has happened from those books. All these rumors about people dying in the house, hanging themselves in the barn, which didn't happen. The suicides in the eaves of the attic, which didn't happen.
Right.
All this stuff didn't happen. And at least from my experience, it was nice. That was the only positive part about my visit there, is because they not only did they not bring up these other deaths, except for Jarvis Smith, who did die on the property, except not where they said it. But he froze to death. He was trying to take a shortcut home, passed out because he was drinking, and then froze to death.
Right.
It was on the property, much closer to the state line.
And then it was the previous owners to the Perrin family. The guy's wife, I guess she died in the house, but I can't find anything.
I didn't find anything. Kenyon?
It may, I believe so, but I couldn't find anything to substantiate that.
Right.
And it very well could have happened. It very well could have. I can't.
I don't think it did, because I did spend this afternoon, I was looking at the land records for the area, and it looks like him and his wife sold that house, or his son was part of it too. So I don't know. I have to dig deeper, so I don't know too much about that yet. But I did find the deed when the parents sold the house, and I found it interesting. Thanks to a friend of mine, Elise. She actually uncovered something, that it wasn't just Roger and Carolyn that owned the house. Dun dun dun.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes. There is. Where is it? Where are my papers?
You know what? Go ahead.
The owners of the house that sold it to the next owner are listed as Carolyn and Roger, but also Cora Perin and Donald Perin. So that was Roger's mother and brother. They're all listed on the deed. So it wasn't just the Perin family that bought the house. They had help. So I mean, I don't know how that fits in the story, but it's kind of takes away from the idea like they were struggling and it was just them and they had nobody to help them out, because they obviously did, because there's two other names on the deed. But that was interesting to me. I thought that was interesting. Anyway, do we have any questions?
Yeah, there's
we got a bunch of questions. So you guys ready to take some questions on?
Well,
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? Cynthia Starr, haven't you all seen the latest about the Conjuring House videos by Jason Hall?
Who's he?
I never. Who's Jason Haas?
I don't know. Is he
Never heard of her.
famous or something? That's good. So there's been a few videos. Just if people aren't aware, he did that video where he shared Brian's video. Brian was the former manager, I think. I don't know what his official title was, but I think he was like the manager for the house, for everything. And that's good.
He was listed as sort of groundskeeper / manager for the guest.
Wait a minute. So he was the groundskeeper? Is that why?
I mean, to be fair, Cody and Satori were there for their thing, but they were painting fences and shit.
Let me clarify. I'm not laughing that his job was groundskeeper. I'm laughing because there was a post by the Conjuring House about letting the grass grow for nature to be able to nest, and all the animals could nest in it. And I made a comment on it like, did John Arnold tell you to fire your groundskeeper too? And now that I found out if he is actually like the groundskeeper, it was true.
So I worked in a factory where we all knew the rumors that it was going to close down. We were all being made redundant. and they put out a very similar like staff notice board thing. We're gonna let the grass grow for foxes, hedgehogs. We were like, nah, you can't afford the groundskeepers anymore. And 2 months later, the police went out of business and shut down. So that's that.
I mean, I saw that post, and it was like, it was almost a desperate attempt to say, hey, we're gonna let nature run its course. We're gonna help nature because we want the animals to nest. But this place hosts campsites, so you don't want all the bugs and some of the other animals that come along with that at a campground. I mean, I don't think that's good business.
I heard from a really good source that allegedly she talks to the crickets. So,
well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
At least they are fucking real.
I mean, considering that she talks to a ghost that she, as a medium, doesn't even know what year the ghost died. It's
I ask a question here.
Sure.
When did she become a medium?
That's
when you bought the house.
Because did she not say in the Sam and Colby thing right at the beginning, first episode, something about she's unsure? I may be wrong, but I'm sure there was something about her being almost skeptical about it.
well,
She's
I thought she had a spiritualist background.
Thank you, Mrs. Gay.
I might be wrong, but how beautiful is Dawn? Great when she's not doing that at me.
That's just my look. It's my trademark.
Your resting bitch look.
Yeah.
Wow.
Make people just keep them guessing.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
mean,
a
I thought that the
me
same.
or not?
To be fair, the first time I met you in person, I was like, I can't get a read on her. I don't know if she
No one
hates me
can.
or not.
No one can. They always say that, and I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Hang on, I got a read on you. I was like, you're a teacher.
A business person, yeah.
So yeah, she. I know the latest news report because the whole firing of the manager thing made the news, and she was referred to as a medium, and as far as I know, when she took over, I forget where I read that she had some kind of spiritualist background. So with that, I mean that's basically that's your spiritualist is a religious belief, and communication with spirits is part of it. So I just figured, yeah, that's what she was doing.
I was probably wrong then, but I got the impression she was kind of skeptical off the beginning of Sam and Colby, but maybe I misremember.
Okay, I don't know much about her, to be honest, other than what has been going on. I know when I watched a video and actually seen her for the first time, she was sitting on a couch. I think it was with Sam and Colby. I don't remember. And I'm like, she seems a bit, I don't know, off. Not off as in like maybe quirky in some sort of way. I don't. The word escapes me, but I was just like, yeah, she's different.
I mean, I didn't get a chance to meet her. I did see her when I visited. She was staying at one of the, I can't call it a tent. It was more like a little cabin off the side, right next to where the flags are, where the alleged bodies, which I actually think are just farm animals. But she's got a little campsite there, and she was sitting on the front steps.
I don't remember seeing it.
It's off. It's not way back with the other campgrounds or campsites. It's off by itself on the side.
Right.
Side of
By
house.
by the wall.
The
brick wall, rock wall, whatever it is.
let me see. I don't think so.
There was an old camper right out front by that new barn.
Or is it across the little creek?
No. It's actually I'll show you. Hold on a second. I
don't remember seeing it when we were there. I just remember the camper.
Exactly what I'm looking at. So let me share the screen here. Share screen. window there. Oh, so there is a tent kind of thing in this area right here.
We didn't notice it.
No.
Yeah,
We would
and she
No, we did. We would have seen it. I have video of us just like out
rest of
there
the camp
before we
link
were.
let's see. There's the campsites down there,
Right.
but yeah,
Joe got a
this is-
sweeping shot of that tree, and it cost him $300.
yeah.
You better be careful, Kenny. She might get you on this.
Get me on what?
Showing this Google Earth image on YouTube.
Oh, well,
You gotta pay the fee, bro.
I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried at all. I'll take my chances. Don't worry about it.
The history.
I love that you're not allowed to have drone footage. There's so much drone footage in that place.
You're not allowed to fly a drone anymore.
On the news report that I posted earlier today, like I saw that, I'm like, drone footage. Oh, did you get it approved? Was that approved by the owner? I mean, you're going to get in trouble.
It probably cost them $8,000.
That's why I told Joe about our engagement. I'm surprised if they had watched that we got engaged. Oh, we forgot there's an engagement fee. Another $500.
What you need to do now is try to book another night there and see if there is an add-on to it. If you want to propose in the Conjuring House, it's an extra $850.
Right.
If you want to show the ring on camera, that's another $50. And if you want to see the ring sliding on, that's another $100.
And each tier costs an extra.
And we have to approve it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not giving no offense to any staff that's working there now, but I'm not giving that woman any more of my money. She's taken more than enough.
No, and then our engagement will get debunked again because that will be faking it. So
Yeah.
Do you know what? I very rarely get involved in other people's arguments, but when that guy posted that video, I went at him. I was like, they're my friends. You were better.
I'm a horrible actress, apparently. So
All right.
Terrible.
Get another question. Let's see here. Michael, do you think that the Conjuring House is haunted due to the land? Huh. So
yeah, I'll let you. Yeah, go ahead. Go first.
I'll real quick. I mean, I don't think there is anything to consider with the land. I know the what is that? The King's
War.
Yeah, King Philip's War. I did look on a map because one of my friends and fellow researchers is Jamie Rubio, and I talked to her a little bit. She brought up she gave me a lot of documents. I looked at several maps, and there was no fighting on that land. There was nothing on that land that should warrant the idea. And just from a skeptical approach, even if there's fighting on the land, doesn't mean shit.
Right.
It really doesn't mean it. I mean, hospitals, people die in hospitals all the freaking time.
And they're all haunted, Kenny.
Of course they are.
I'm surprised there's not a lady in white at the Conjuring House. But anyways.
Oh,
Yet.
there is.
Right?
There is. I learned about that on the tour.
What? This is news to me.
Hello? That's Abigail.
Oh.
Abigail. So another fun fact I'm going to throw out here is during the tour, we were told that their resident ghosts now are John and Abigail Arnold. And they lived there with their 14 kids in that house. And this is one of the things, maybe people are not going to be happy with this one, but this is one of the things that I brought up. Like that kind of made me crinkle my nose like, wait a minute. I done research on this. I don't remember that many kids. And I brought it up. I said, I don't think there's 14 kids. And I talked to the guide. We had our guide. Her name was Sage. She was very nice. My only critique of her was that she spoke way too fast. So I was taking a lot of notes, but she spoke way too fast. I asked her some questions about the history, and I didn't expect her to know. And that's not a slight on her. Usually tour guides are following a script.
Yeah.
So
they are.
Yeah, there's no blame there. But she went and got Brian. She's like, let me get my manager. You know, he should be able to answer your questions. And unfortunately, Brian couldn't answer the questions. And I was like, there's really no record. And when I got home, I did check, and they didn't have 14 kids. I mean, they had 12 kids, but there was no more than 10 kids in the house at one time, given the amount of time that went by. And I actually have a breakdown of the timeline between the deaths, the births, the deaths, and people moving out. So, I mean, that's another thing about the tour that kind of pissed me off. But back to the point is that we were told that there was a lady in white that's been seen crossing the room, and that's Abigail. And I was like, oh, this is the first I'm hearing about this. Like,
and there's cameras in there, and there's just no footage.
Thank you. There's tons of cameras.
This is the difference between me and Kenny. You hear these stories, and Kenny looks into it and says there was actually 12 kids. And my first thought is, fucking hell, you can tell the internet wasn't invented. It was cold that year. Sorry.
Hey, it's.
I mean, that was one of the jokes. That was definitely one of the jokes. Like, oh, they have nothing to do back then except make babies.
Right.
And I mean, that's one thing. And I mean, just to add on to it, I mean, this is something that I've discussed with other researchers like Jamie. But the father, John Arnold's father, was still alive too at the time. So that would have been not just 16 people in the house, 14 kids, mom and dad, but also John's parents were still alive. That would have been 18 people
fucking
in the house. And I mean, I mean, you can fit them, but that would not be fun.
No, it would not be fun.
And I mean, there's another point. And again, I hope I'm not boring people. I'm a history buff. I love the details.
It's important to paranormal investigating anyways. It's important.
But there is no documentation that exists that actually tells us that John and Abigail were living in that house. I know there's a story, and we have passing down from father to son, but until like 1820 or 1822, when his father died, there's no documentation whatsoever saying he was in that house. So we don't know who was in the house at the time. It just says Burrowville, which I think is like 52 square miles. That's a lot.
Right.
But thank you, Mrs. Geek. I appreciate that. That was awesome. Look at that.
So in our documentary,
your wife's giving me all your money, Beardo.
I'm looking for 40 quid. What are you doing?
So
do another
in our you better be going live a lot more, Beardo.
Well, I'll go live next week. I'll invite Kenny on, and
steal the money.
There you go. Yeah.
I didn't want to invoke her name in a negative context because she actually kind of scares me for a very lovely looking lady.
I'm not scary.
She's not. She's very sweet.
But yeah, so in our documentary, we did bring up the King's Philip War, which I was kind of like, I don't know if we should put that in there or not, because it really didn't happen in that area anyways. Right. But there could have been like small little pockets of battle that went on maybe close by. Who the hell knows? Because not all things are going to be documented anyways. I think it's more tied, if anything, it's more tied to the land. That's what I think. But I'm not telling you with certainty or faction, anything like that. That's what's going on. All I can say is I know what I experienced, and it wasn't anything like fucking crazy or anything like that. Just the rocking chair thing. Finally, 4 years later, we get an answer as to what happened with the rocking chair, which is great. I mean, kind of sucks, but at the same time, that's great because we know what happened. And at no time did I ever say it was a ghost. I even told man, I'm like, I would not say, don't put that in the documentary because
I can attest to that because you came to me and you showed me the footage. You're like, what do you think it is? And I gave you some ideas, but I could only speculate because I wasn't there. I don't know the layout of the room. I didn't know all the details, but I told you what I thought. So what did it end up being?
So what happened was, and I actually did mention this to Matt. The rocking chair was propped up against the wall in such a way where it tilted the chair back.
Okay.
Not propped up, but the way it was angled and things like that, it was up against molding. So it was angled back, and it was the molding or the wall, really the molding, that was keeping it at an angle. And then, at some point, probably Bill, it came loose and it rocked forward. So we were like, let's check it out. Let's see if this guy's right. And he's right. We undeniably. Good. And, I never claimed that, never at one time to ever say it was a ghost. I'm like, I have no idea.
Right. If
anybody else can figure that out, do so. I even tried when we were last there. I tried to do that, actually. And I was in a hurry because we had to get out of there. But I couldn't get it to stay in a position. It just immediately would just.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem when you get older.
Well,
Imagine that. I've paid $2,500 and I was in a rush to get out of there.
Right.
$2,500. I will make a full cooked English breakfast. And I will take my sweet damn time. I will not break a sweat.
But like I said, it was not anything that I experienced there, which wasn't really much. I mean, it was cool, but it wasn't really much.
Right.
It was nothing like it's being made out to be like, it is the most haunted house, in the world. No, it's not.
Do you think it's haunted at all?
I think there's something going on. I don't know if it's freaking ghosts or not. I don't know, but something is going on.
The next question.
That was Redman coming out. Why is this place considered a haunted location? I mean, to be honest, I think it's
parents.
It goes back to the parents, yeah. Like that. Again, that book. Can you reach right in that book? The box that says.
But doesn't Andrea, in her books, I haven't read them. I've read abridged versions of stuff. But doesn't Andrea contradict herself between books?
Yes. So this was the first volume, which was so hard to read because it just sucks.
It can't be as bad as that other one.
This is so. I have a box over here on my shelf that says "World's Worst Paranormal Books of All Time," and all 3 volumes of this are in there, including the book that you're talking about. But I mean, thank you, Slicks 666. I like that name. That's pretty cool. Thank you for the 2. Oh, T-Fun, nice. Thank you. Go right in there. This. Yeah, I mean, there's contradictions when you read this, and then by the time you get to volume 2 and volume 3, there's contradictions. She goes back on it, and I don't like how she goes back on it because it kind of shifts the blame on everyone else except for the author, where the blame should be placed. And there were things like I posted the other day. I think yesterday I posted a passage from this book. Actually, I think it was part 2, where during the alleged seance that happened in the house, because Carolyn was supposed to be possessed or something was inside her and they were trying to get it out. Ed and Lorraine Warren were there. But there's a whole description about technicians with cameras, and they were firing shots off from these cameras all over the place. So my question was, where the fuck are these pictures?
Yeah.
There's literally probably, I would say at least 100 photographs of this seance that went on and all this stuff that happened. I mean, this is when Carolyn levitated and then was thrown back. Where are all these pictures?
They also they were known to also record. video footage of things too.
Yes. I don't know if they had, like, because I imagine we're talking 1973, so I would expect probably like still 8mm.
Yeah, something like
Maybe
that.
going on. I don't think VHS the camcorders and stuff like that. Like I have a few of them, and I go back to like 81. That's the earliest I have. So
yeah, they had like the thing you had to like do yourself.
Yeah. FHA Hab. What? I just wanted to
Fuck
wish
you for Hab.
Beardo a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Beardo.
Oh, Beardo can't even ban anybody.
I love that people are donating to wish you a happy birthday. That is awesome.
You know how much money I've earned other channels?
Oh, that's awesome.
People pay to insult me. That's not what I expected when I started.
Feel free. If you want to pay to insult Beardo on this show, go right ahead.
The next insult is $10. Give $10 to Kenny and call me whatever you want.
All right.
You're welcome, Kenny.
Let's do one more question and then we'll go to break and then we'll come back and just hit. We got a lot of questions, so we'll hit them hard. Mrs. Geek, what's up? Definitely get your question in.
Mhm.
How far out is the history from the Conjuring House to the actual occurrences? I'm sure they play on the movies, not the actual history.
So the only truth is the parents lived there. Ed and Lorraine Warren were there. And that's pretty much it. I mean, and in fact, Roger punched Ed Warren in the face, told him, get the fuck out.
That was actually in the film, though, wasn't it?
No.
There was a scene in the garage or the shed where he hits him
Sorry,
and he's
the
like,
what?
get out.
I'm sorry, the what?
The what?
The garage.
What is that?
Garage.
What is
I'm
that?
going to say
Garage.
a garage is where you keep your cars or
Right.
out in the States for your horse and cart.
Where you
It's a
keep-
garage. Right. You guys are descendants of us, okay? Your language came from us. You spell yellow wrong. You say aluminium wrong. You say...
We took the fucking I out of aluminium.
It's aluminium, not aluminum. Oh, I get a fucking
Can you say aluminum again, please?
aluminium. Aluminium
Garage.
and
Oh,
garage.
the money
And it's not
coming
a
in.
sidewalk.
I love
It's a
you.
When you
pavement.
say garage, it sounds like something from like the 1800s where they like park their horse and carriage or some shit.
Funnily enough, that's where the language comes from. And you lot butchered it.
Dean Bailey,
Absolutely butchered it.
35 pounds to say happy birthday and spoon day to Beardo.
Bro Judas has just put fucking jam in the chat. Bro Judas is the only person on the planet to say jam. It's jam, you idiot. It's jam. And mayonnaise and hot dogs. You should go to prison for that.
Jody, thank you, Jody Music, for Kenny Dong, Joe, Nice, Beardo, Bully, B-Day Hammer. Oh my God.
I mean, this is what
Hey, they
Beardo
know
gets-
me.
This is what Beardo gets for being a toxic asshole.
I will die on my toxic sword for garage.
Ooh, that was all from a question, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That had nothing to do with the garage. Garage.
Right, and Kenny, I think that question too, we have to remind people that when we talk about priming, that movie primed me to put that on my bucket list because I thought it was going to be scary as hell, and I'm not scared of anything, but I wanted to check it out. And then once I watched Joe's documentary, and that's how we met. Like I watched it, I'm like, nothing happened there, like barely anything happened. And they're debunking all this stuff, and I reached out to him because of that, because I was so used to everybody just priming and propping it up,
Right.
just like this other location, and it's not real. It's not realistic.
Honestly, I got hooked on it because Norma Sutcliffe, who was the owner before Corey, she reached out to me. Did I reach? No, I reached out to her because I somebody told me about Andrea's book. I started reading it. I reached out to Norma, and it was right after she sold the house. And Norma sent me a packet of information. Like I'm talking like a 1/2-inch thick packet in the mail, and it had a whole bunch of documents and records and obituaries, and I was like, wow, I was hooked. So that's where I found out like all the history about the suicides, the deaths that happened just didn't, except for Jarvis. Right. None of the deaths that were reported to happen in that house happened in that house. They happened miles away. What? Tanya? New Zealand? $10. Wow. Thank you. Beardo is correct. We speak English, not gibberish. Well, I'm not gonna. You're not wrong.
Depends on what side of the pond you're on.
we do. I mean, I can't really talk. I'm from Philly, so we talk shit all the time. But I wanted to say something like the history. Going with the history, there's a little bit of history that I don't think many people know, and I found this from like people like Jamie Rubio and my other friend Elise that brought it to our attention. That the whole camping thing, and I'm going to leave this with you guys as we take our break. The whole camping thing was not the Jacqueline's idea.
Right.
So Roger Perin applied for this in, wait, let me get the date right, August of 1974. He applied to the township to make a campground where like he was going to have 250 some campsites.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So the document's online. You can all look it up if you want to. You can read about it.
Jacqueline, you may want to look at
that. I mean, he was denied, but he did try. And it kind of like, I don't know if it's important or not, but it kind of put up a red flag.
It is important, yeah.
Because like this is only a few months after this alleged seance. Like this is in the heart. This is 1974. So right after the seance, during the whole demonic entity.
Ellie, you'll know this. What came first, Amityville or The Conjuring?
Well, I think Conjuring came first. Now I gotta check.
Yeah, because
that's interesting. Because were the Warrens only pulled in for him to try and build a business out of it? Because if he's trying to rent that place out,
right,
70 years before it became famous for it, maybe the Warrens were only brought in knowing the Warrens would feed into it just to be like, hey, we could uncover something fucking huge here.
No, so the original publishing of the Amityville Horror was 1977, so I think it was more 1975. Ish. So this is before then. But it didn't really make any news. Nobody cared until later on.
Right.
And I
heard of Amityville before anything. Like when I was a kid, Amityville, the Enfield haunting, they were the only things anyone ever talked about in regards to it's real.
Right.
And obviously Amityville got pulled apart in every aspect. Enfield, some of it pulled apart, some of it could still be real. It was just when you were saying that then, I was like, holy shit. Is she just doing what he tried to do X amount of years before?
So no, the Ronald DeFeo murders happened in 74. So this is in November of 74. So it was a few months after the campground application, which was a few months after this seance at the Conjuring House. So it's just I guess for me, the thing that stands out is they think the house is haunted, not just by one ghost, but like an evil spirit. And oh my goodness, Mrs. Geek, thank you so much.
What do you mean you owe him 3?
I love you, Mrs. Geek. Great.
There's smoke coming out of Beardo's ears, just saying.
It's not. It's just I've realised my stream from earlier was for free. In all seriousness, Kenny, you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. You have been a mentor to me through all of this shit. And since we got talking, I come to you with stuff, and you're like, "Yeah, I'll
might
show
wanna
you
put
how
that
you're
helmet on,
wrong."
Jimmy.
But
Put
no,
it on,
I
Beardo.
appreciate how you've helped us all out, and it was kind of through you that me and Jason Hawes struck up the friendship that we've got. So yeah, I appreciate that. I really do.
I mean, you know, I tell people there's only a handful of people out there in the paranormal that I honestly look up to. You know, Jason's one of them, but you know, you are, Kenny, as well.
Oh God, you guys are gonna make me cry. Oh my goodness!
It's just a fucking huge shame that Kenny Biddle hasn't got more subscribers than me. He needs it. Anyone in the chat not subscribed, please subscribe to Kenny, because we all of us in the UK, Australia, the United States, we all look at Kenny's footage for SLS. I'm pretty sure Kenny was the first, and we've all referenced Kenny for the SLS. We've all referenced Kenny for gone. There was something in my head, but there was something else that we were all, me and Mr. Gray especially, were like, Kenny Biddle's done this video. Go and watch his, because he's broke it. It was really haunted with something. Oh no, that was the stick figures. But yeah, you've done so much good work for all of us. And while some people will say, "Oh, Kenny's just a disbeliever," nah, I'm like, yeah, and I can take Kenny's disbeliever and my believer side, and I can mesh in the middle and say, but science says this and that, and I'm not going to sing a song for Kenny. That's $10. That's $10.
You know,
Air Force One. Thank you so much for the $1.99. I appreciate that. Perfecting flawed language improvement. Thank you.
You know, Beardo, Kenny has a helmet with wings on it.
Yeah, I got one as well.
Seriously?
Yeah, you're about to. You should probably wear that. And then go look at Kenny Biddle's Facebook and look at the photo.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it because I was going to put mine on when the camera came live to make everyone laugh, and then I saw your comment. I was like, I have no part in that.
It's my fault.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we're gonna take our break. We got about a 4-minute break, and then we'll come back, and we have a ton of questions to get through. So we're gonna try and shotgun some of the questions, especially me, because I do tend to talk a lot. So
really,
not as bad as the side-eye guy.
Well, you know, no one talks as much as he does.
Oh,
all right,
going out.
So
we got one more.
Oh, look at that! Oh my goodness! Thank you for the $19.99. Oh, God, abs. Ooh, abs. I don't have abs. I mean, I do.
I have. They're just like hiding under a lot of fat.
Yeah, that's my problem too.
Got here via Beardo, but as he said, you were the best. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I mean, I got to say, like, Beardo, I discovered you just, I think, at random. Like, you popped up in my feed, and I was like, wow, I like this guy. He's funny. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think I messaged you when I was like under 1,000 subscribers, and you replied with whatever, and then you replied again about 2 months later, like, holy shit. I've been watching you and didn't realize who I was talking to, because I used my private email. I was like, yeah, that's me.
I've done.
Yeah.
I've done that with Side Eye Guy. Once in a while, he messages me, and it'll be something like, you know how you can talk to friends, like people that you know, you can talk shit to them, but he uses his real name. So when he talks shit to me, my first reaction is, who the fuck is this guy? Like, who's he talking to? And then I'm like, oh shit.
The Side Eye Guy, I messaged him and I was like, if you ever email me, do Side Eye Guy, because once I know your name, I can't not say it.
Right.
Please don't ever tell me. And then we did a live stream, some of us, and Side Eye Guy was in there. the camera ended, his real name pops up, and he took the mask off, and I was like, oh, I'm going to fuck up.
Yeah.
When I saw him at the Bel Air house when we all met, he came in. I heard his voice, and I was like, "Oh, that's I can't wait." Came in not wearing a mask. I'm like, "Dude, put the mask back on." You're freaking me out, man. I can't look at you.
No,
Look at what I did to Jason Hawes. I made that guy jump through fucking rings to get a message to me. It was like, nah, you speak to my mate Kenny, and then I'll speak to you. When Kenny confirms you're real, Kenny's like, yeah, that's Jason. I was like, are you sure?
I was watching your video, and I texted him right away. I was like, hey, Beardo's talking about you.
I remember, in fact, we did a live stream the first time I came on this, and I was like, yeah, Jason Hawes probably hates me. And you were like, oh, Jason just texted me because he's watching and said he doesn't hate you. Right. You've got a right to an opinion. And I was like, oh, that's cool of him. And then I got an email, and I was like, I ain't Jason Hawes, fuck you. That's what it was.
Nice guy. I will always give him credit. He was a very nice guy. He will talk to you. Even if you disagree, he still talks to you. He doesn't hold it against you. It's like me. I don't take this personally. This is business. You know, we can talk business, but then we can stop talking business and hang out and have a good time and bullshit with each other. So
break time.
All right, we're gonna go on break. We're late. All right, so I'm gonna figure out where is my video. I gotta put my glasses on so I can see. We're gonna take a 4-minute and 9-second break, and then come back and do questions. So go fill your glasses and relieve your bladders if you need to right now.
And now for something completely different.
Welcome, my fellow skeptics. Welcome, one and all. I am the chief investigator. Oh, come along, old chap. We will have a ball. Now, if you will excuse me, it's time to open the mic. Good night. Good night. Kenny Biddle's the main investigating's my game, and I will have at it. Quid pro quo. As the head of this committee, hunting for ghosts can be shitty, but there is nothing better that I know. I am a skeptic through and through. I question everything, don't you? Let's open the bar and have some questions, alright. Maybe you might find an answer or two. I will find the truth this night and day. And if my name is not Kenny Biddle, then I assure you here I will not stay. Good day! Kenny Biddle's the name, goes hunting's the game. I won't let anything get in my way. Too many fakers out there, too many chefs, too many toe tappers, none of it makes any sense. I am a skeptic through and through. I question everything, don't you? Let's open the bar and ask some questions, alright. Maybe you might find an answer or two. Who knows? There may be ghosts in the machine, but trust me, I am not so keen. I prefer to see these things clearly, not in 144 clean. I am a skeptic through and through. I question everything, don't you? If you don't think I am right, let's open night night. Yeah, yeah. and everything. Don't you? If you don't think I am right, let's open mic night. Yeah. If you have an answer or two, that candy bit will solve it for you. That candy bit will solve it for you. The one and only candy bit. Candy bit. Candy bit.
All right, we are back. I feel better. Whew. All right, so go ahead. You all right?
Oh no, it's my allergies.
Suck it up, bitch. We got a show to do. All right.
No time for allergy.
Yeah. We got shows to do. We got questions to answer. So let's we got a bunch of questions. So let's start getting through them. Let's see, what do we got here? Chris Selike, who recently visited the Center for Inquiry. She was here. I gave her a tour. Who was the guy who lived there and said he was angry and felt the same thing was happening to the I guess the new owner? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I've seen that. There was a guy did a video about how he worked for Corey and sorry, I forget the lady's name.
Jen. That was John Huntington.
Okay.
Yeah, and he went on a dark path through it, but he kind of says he went through a dark path through it because of other things as well. So, and Corey and Jen were very nice to him and accommodating.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I can't give an opinion on it. I don't know. It kind of looked like he was. I mean, at first it looked like he was saying that the house was doing something to her, that she was being slowly modified or something like that from the house. The house was getting to her. Is that what it?
Yeah. That's what he said, but correct me if I'm wrong. He was reading off the phone like it was pre-scripted.
Yeah, he wrote. He typed out his thoughts on the phone.
I'm not a fan of that.
I mean,
I don't know where it is now.
I know John. The thing is, I wasn't there to see what was going on with John. I've heard whatever about it, but to try to connect what he went through and with the current owner, I'm like, oh no, this is something completely different. I mean, this goes outside of.
So when did he live there?
I know he was there in 2020. So
he lived there through the pandemic.
But he didn't.
That was the thing. He lived it through the pandemic.
Right? He was not an owner.
No.
Corey owned it, or Corey and Jen owned it. He worked for them, but then the pandemic landed and he basically got stuck there. I think.
I don't know if he was just stuck. He was there before that. I do know that. I do know he was there before the pandemic. Him and Corey have been friends. But I mean, he was there the whole time. We were there when we were filming. But then the previous year, he was not.
Okay.
or the year after, I should say. So I believe he was there probably, and I'm not 100% sure. Probably not a couple months, maybe could have been about a year after the Heisens bought the house.
Yeah, I know that he put a thing in that Corey let him go because of like negative effects, which fair play to to Corey. Sorry, I keep dropping F-bombs. But fair play to Corey for saying, hang on, you're struggling a bit. Maybe you're my best friend, but get away from you. That's a good thing to do. But it's like, I watched what he said and I was like, you were in the worst time of the worst time for humanity. He was not in a good place.
Right.
And maybe this is the skeptic in me, is if you're not in a good place anyway, and then you go there, not long after a movie comes out, and there's nobody around, and you can't leave, and you can't do this, you can't go shopping, and we're all locked up. What I'm trying to say is the impact on his mental health. To me, from an outsider, and I'm not passing judgment on him because my wife went through hell with the pandemic and anxiety, but it all seemed to me to be this is some guy that got stuck there and was just like, I'm freaking myself out.
So I want to add a little bit to this, and I'm going to preface it by saying I'm not a psychologist, a psychiatrist. I don't have any training in this, but I have seen behavioral patterns when people put themselves in the spotlight and it becomes overwhelming to them, and they can't handle it because there's a lot that goes with it. And I'm sure you guys have experienced this, where you're suddenly in an environment where you want to be, you think you want to be. Say like the Conjuring House. I mean, if you're in the paranormal community, that's one of the big places, or at least it used to be. Not right now, but it used to be a really big place. You know, this was the top dog, and you're in there. Not only are you in there, you have an inn, but you're living there. And I don't know how that arrangement came about, but you got yourself to live there, and now everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants a piece of you. And it can be very overwhelming. And there's behavioral issues, there's mental health issues that if you're not capable of handling this, then you can have a breakdown. You can have an episode where you just break down and you start lashing out. And I know that gentleman, if that's what we're talking about, I think it's the same guy, lashed out to several people. And when you're challenged, like for me, from my end, the skeptical perspective, I challenge a lot. I ask questions that are sometimes very difficult to answer, especially when you have a full-fledged belief in what's going on. So to come against that kind of questioning can really be damaging to, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but damaging to your ego, and set you on a path where you don't know what to do. You don't know how to act. So you act in a very negative way towards everyone. And I think that's what we're seeing with maybe with that gentleman. Again, I haven't looked at his video. I don't know what he said or how he said it, but I'm also looking at the current situation with the current owner and how she's handling stuff. And pretty much going out there and saying outrageous things. We're trying to cover up a lot of things. And I think there's a very serious issue going on here. And that's one of the things I want to touch on is, yeah, we do make jokes. We make fun of some of the things that are going on because they're outrageous. But underlying issue is we have to consider that there is possibly, again, none of us can diagnose, but there's possibly a very strong mental health issue that's here. And I think this person needs professional help. And the problem is, I don't think they are going to get it for themselves voluntarily. I think it's going to have to be forced upon this person. because they're not going to go willingly. And
there's the skeptical part of you. Like, the more I do this, the more skeptical, the more like this is bollocks I feel. Does part of you think that maybe this is, and Jackie, don't sue Kenny because of something I've said, that this could be that, I'm trying to word it right without getting us into trouble. Movie deal. I'm the Conjuring House owner, and I went completely off the
Somebody
rails
asked that
because
question.
of the demon.
Okay.
You know what? I had today. There was a conversation that I had, and that was brought up. Not that I disagree, but could I play devil's advocate for a second?
Yeah.
Well,
why we're friends, Joseph.
So there is and again, this is belief. I'm not spitting facts here, but there is belief that if somebody has mental illness, not saying the owner has mental illnesses,
no, but
being in a place that is allegedly haunted, depending on, I'm just going to spit it out. Just going to go to Crazy Town for a second. So we'll pretend that perhaps maybe there is something dark at the house, and it knows that there is something some mental illness going on, that perhaps it could take advantage of that and make that mental illness far worse. And then what we're seeing is divide and conquer, right? You got staff leaving. She's basically by herself. Really, she's taking herself down.
If you're skeptical, you're evil, all of this stuff.
There is that belief that could be happening. I'm not saying it is. I don't necessarily believe that to be the case necessarily. I'm not 100% that it isn't, but when you step back and you look at it in the paranormal aspect, you look at it with the Catholic, faith and of these other religious beliefs. It is believed that somebody with mental illness is vulnerable to something dark and creating or making the mental illness far worse than what it really is. So basically, it's like a steroid for mental illness, just making it worse.
Yeah. The issue here is that this is all based on speculation, and it's the paranormal speculation. And I love the paranormal community. I love interacting, but it's a bullshit idea. And I'm not saying that to you.
Right.
There are so many beliefs that are born from, well, maybe this happens or maybe that happens, and it's all by unqualified people to talk about it. These are people that don't have any training in psychology or mental health, and they're speculating. So these kind of ideas, and again, it's not towards you, Joe, but these dangerous. Kind of ideas permeate. They get out there and they start gaining ground because people that don't know any better, that are literally ignorant of the education that takes the sciences behind it, that grab onto it and just run with these ideas instead of fact checking, instead of consulting experts that would tell them otherwise. That's one of the big problems with this community, is that assumption becomes fact, and that's not how it works. And that's why we have so many problems like this. That's why science, when the community asks, why doesn't science take us seriously? This is one of your top reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone assumes, they make assumptions, and they turn those assumptions into facts.
Right.
So,
and this is what I said to you earlier, that the paranormal newsworthy, nothing for decades probably. And now we've just got some woman like, yeah, a 300-year-old ghost is back my groundskeeper.
Right.
Everyone and their fucking dog is going to look at it and go, how stupid is that?
Right. And, the reason why I wanted to play devil's advocate with that a little bit is because that is kind of what, is making its rounds a little bit, like with John Huntington's video. I'm not saying, well, this was what John was doing or whatever, but to a point, it sort of sounded like that,
Sound good. That's our problem. It sounds good. It sounds like that makes sense, and that's typical. That's all of us. I've been there too. I mean, so many of us will take something and say, that sounds logical. But it's
for
not.
the next 2 years, everything is going to be looked at through a microscope, because everyone that has ever been there, worked there, or anything is going to have this horrible ghosty-woasty experience. And for the most part, the people that I trust, they have not had those experiences there. I watched Joe Vitale and Matt Benton's documentary there. And while Matt Benton is more open to things, Joe is more, let's look for the logical.
Well, it's funny because in that documentary, Matt says he's more scientific.
Yeah. Well, people say and do different things, I guess. But I don't think anyone overstretched anything on that documentary. I don't think anyone did anything for entertainment, and that covers a multitude of sins. It was a very honest, we've gone to this house, and it's, if you haven't watched it, go watch Joe Vitale and Matt Benton, not just Matt Benton. Go and watch the whole thing. It's fantastic because, yes, they come away from there with questions, but how many years on from that are we now, Joe?
4.
So 4 years later, you are still looking at things people have picked out and going, "Oh, actually, we've worked that out. Actually, we don't know what that is." That's the Kenny Biddle may say, "You've missed this, you've missed that, missed the other." To me, I'm like, this is fucking fantastic.
Right.
We don't get this level of maturity. We don't get this level of honesty. Where's the flying chairs? Because I was the dickhead that watched the Mindseed video and went, fuck, this can happen?
I think I want to jump in here. I know, Joe, you want to say something, but I want to jump in and just say, like, this comment from Carolyn is I think, dead on. And I think most of the blame can be put on Hollywood for this. Because she says, doesn't it add to the stigma to suggest that mental illness invites dark forces? This is what we see in horror movies. The main character often in horror movies is thought to be crazy because they're experiencing stuff, that weird stuff that happens throughout the day, throughout the movie, until the third act, when everyone starts realizing, oh shit, this is real. And I think this is a real good statement, because if someone is suffering from mental illness, and we're not saying that anyone is right now, because we don't know, none of us can diagnose. But
speculation.
Yes,
right.
If somebody is, then unfortunately, it's almost like a default assumption in the paranormal community that, oh, maybe there's some dark forces. Maybe there's a demonic entity that's responsible for this. Or maybe if we go the logical scientific route, there's a mental illness that's at play here. And not a demonic thing, not a dark forces, not a fucking house that has a reputation for being haunted, when, in fact, the history of the fucking house doesn't exist. There is no history. Like, I'm getting mad.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no history. It's a house that was built like a long time ago, a couple hundred years ago. That's it. There is no history, that stands out from other houses, except for the one that was created by a really shitty book series. That's it. So I just wanted to point that out. Like, that's a good statement, Carolyn. I appreciate that question.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I had seen something in one of the rooms, and when we went to go look at the cameras the following day, that camera went down. Now, was that a coincidence? And I'm not saying I did see something. What I'm saying is, I thought I had seen something. I don't know. But it was just weird that when we went back to review that, magically the camera malfunctioned. And then it wasn't long later after the fact that everything was fine. It was fine just before I walked in that door. Like when I walked in that door, boom, that was it. That camera malfunctioned. So was it a coincidence? It very well could have been a coincidence. Maybe I thought I had seen something and nothing was really there, and it was just a coincidence. But also, too, Matt, when we started talking about doing the documentary, Matt was like, "Oh, Bathsheba Sherman, Bathsheba." I'm like, Matt, that story's not real.
Bollocks.
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "It never happened." He's like, "Well, the movie." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, no, it never happened. Like, there was no witch." So I actually, Norma made a video on YouTube. I sent that to Matt, and I think I sent him some other things on it. And there went that whole idea of focusing around this witch. I'm like, just hey, dude, a couple of YouTubers, we go there, see what happens, like that. That's all we need to do. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's keep going because we got a ton of questions. Oh my God, there's.
Can you bring Kaylee J's question back up?
Yeah,
it looked like a decent question. That. Sorry, Mrs. Biddle. Don't
That's
kill me.
all right. That's all right. I just have to find it again.
It was
Here it
about.
is.
There you go. Kaylee J. Or does mental illness create dark forces? Through personal experience, I know that happens without even being conscious of it. It's reality and a broken mind at the time. That's a deep thought there. And yes, I agree. I mean, if there is a mental illness, like if you have delusions, if
Just
you suffer
depression.
from delusions or depression, and you're in a place where you already have this idea that it's haunted, already have this idea of the history, already going in with this expectation, it can weigh upon you. You can think about this, and anytime you go deeper into it, your first response, your first blame is, oh, it's the house. It's the house. Yeah. And you will start associating everything that's bad that happens in your life, you will associate with the house because you already have this preconceived notion of it. Daniel Reed, paranoid schizophrenia or major depression with mood congruent psychotic features. Yes, Daniel would know. He is trained in this. So yeah, you have these factors that come into play that sadly, and this is something that I've preached about before, ghost hunters don't ask about, they don't look into, they don't bother with, because they for the most part, the majority are in there for what's going to happen tonight. What are we going to get on, our audio recorders? What are we going to capture on video? They're not thinking of the client. So many times, and this really is depressing to me, that so many ghost hunters are good-natured, but they're going in there for the thrill of the hunt and not actually thinking about the client.
Yeah, I've been asked to do residentials, and I've said no. Number one, the UK, it's really hard to get any background. Privacy is fucking huge. Just like I can't get access to, do you have a mental health illness? Because I don't want to exacerbate that. And by exacerbate, I mean go in there and say, fuck me, this could be haunted, and then them have a breakdown because there's a ghost.
Right.
Or the other end of it, go in there and say, actually, your boiler's leaking carbon monoxide, your electrics is through the roof. It's not a haunting, but to them, it's like, I thought my mother's been visiting me for 15, 20 years and it's all a lie. I want no part in that. I don't want to destroy somebody's, me and Kenny have talked with this before. if somebody thinks their mother, after they've passed, have come in and said, I forgive you, and left, that's yours. That's real.
Right.
We won't tell you any different. But then I worry about these guys, like the certain teams in the US will go into a house and they're holding an EMF to a wall and go in, it's a demon.
Or up to a fan.
It's not. It's a fucking light socket. The
Yeah.
wires are traced up the wall there.
Right.
You're damaging that person.
Or they have
At
it
the
pointed
opposite
towards
end of
TV.
it,
And
the
it's-
opposite end that worries me is, no, it's not haunted because of XYZ. And they're like, fuck, I thought I was in contact. And that worries me. Really worries me. There's a guy in the UK called Kev K. Doesn't have a social media presence, but he's running kind of like a school of investigating households, but without cameras. You're not allowed to take your camera. But there's a mental health declaration. There's a access to medical records. And then there's a right, we're going to look at your electrics, your boiler. We're going to look at your mental state, your drugs. You take all of that into account. And then after that, maybe we can investigate. And I'm like, that's the way to do it. Because right now, the thought of going into a lived-in house as a YouTuber, because I'm not an investigator. I like to paranormal investigate, but I'm not an investigator. I'm not scientifically based. I would never, ever want to go into a home and just cause carnage and upset or shit on someone's beliefs or promote a negative mental health aspect. And I'm like, fuck. And then I see these big shows on the TV and I'm like, do you know what you're doing? It's dangerous.
There is a fine line because we're not professionals in this. We don't have the credentials or the qualifications or the certifications in order to do some of the things that ghost hunters do anyway. Go ahead.
I'll be quick about this. So, I did residentials and stuff like that. I stayed away from residentials because when I would find like these reasons for certain things happening and the house is not haunted, well, they don't like that answer. Apparently having a haunted home is freaking cool and people want a haunted home.
Right.
Also, psychology does play a huge role in the paranormal. And I'll give another example where people will go to this location and they're told these insane stories. Oh, we got a bunch of demons here and this happened and that happened. And this plants seeds into a lot of investigators' heads, especially these YouTubers. And anything they experience, they automatically connect whatever it is that they're experiencing from what they were told. So, if they, get a mark on their body, for example, oh my God, a demon scratched me. It had to have been, things like that. And, Kenny and I, we kind of talked about this a little bit. We were on the same page with a certain location, priming. Look at all the stuff that's being pumped out on social media on a location. And then look at the stories that are being told once you're there. And that's priming. So people are already have that mindset that this is scary shit.
Right.
They go there and they're terrified already.
See, my first argument is always nobody ever has been recorded as being killed by anything paranormal. There is literally nothing out there to say that a ghost, a demon has killed a person. There are reports of sleep demons killing people. Nightmare on Elm Street was based on it. But look at the situation those people were in. They were coming over from Korea, war-torn countries and stuff, stressed to the max, landing in another country. People were dying. Oh, let's put it down to sleep demon. Yeah, but in the 60s.
Right. All right.
In the 60s, we didn't know.
I'm sorry. We got a ton of questions.
Let's go.
You guys are like, let's try to shotgun some of these questions.
Okay.
So no talking a lot, Joe.
Yeah, shut up.
Dawn, no long-winded answers.
I think
Wisdom. How long have the facts been incorrect?
this
From
was
day
when you
one.
guys were talking about the
But-
dates, I think.
The dates. Okay. Since at least 2011. That's when the first Andrea Perrin book came out. So at least from there, and probably beforehand, because I know she started doing the stories and talking about it, doing interviews before that. So all of the information that was out about the deaths, the suicides, everything that happened in the house was all incorrect. And just not there was a story about Carolyn having this notebook where she did all this research, and Lorraine took the notebook and never gave it back. I seriously doubt there was a notebook, because none of the records that were apparently researched actually exist. So I don't think any of this happened. I think it was just all for the book. That's it. Good. Anything to add on? No? Yes? No? Good. All right. Moving on. Kaylee J. Have any of the other members of the Perrin family spoken about any activity going on there? For me, I know that last time when I met Andrea, funny story. I had her autograph the books, but I had to take all the flags out. There were like 50 flags on pages and I had written throughout the book like, "This is bullshit. This isn't true." And I was like sweating it, going, "Please don't turn the pages. Please don't turn the pages. Just autograph it. Just that's it." But she had, I believe, Cindy was with her, and her father Roger were with her. And they told the stories, and none of them contradicted each other. So that's my personal experience with them. So they all were all in support of it.
And they've been on a couple shows too in the past that I've watched. Kindred Spirits was one of them, where they sat around and hadn't been in the house in a long time and talked about like what their experiences were as children. So I've watched that.
All right, moving on. Slicks666 at Kenny. Question: in the U.S., how many laws, etc., has she broken, including false advertising? So this is not my area, so I don't want to speak out of turn here or out of my wheelhouse. I would consider, and this is my opinion, that I think there are definitely some labor and wages laws that were broken.
Agreed.
The false advertising is kind of a shady ground, because if you make claims based on belief, you can always claim that. Just like any kind of religion, you can make your claims based on belief. So if it goes to court, I want to put this out publicly. If the case of the firing of the manager goes to court, I want to be there. I will volunteer to be in the audience, because I want to see how the fuck she was going to prove that John Arnold, again, whose death date she got wrong, being a medium, was talking to her and telling her what all these facts. And I would also like to see the footage, because I know damn well that there is a camera in the gift shop.
Yes, there is.
So
I think there's two.
Yes, yeah, I want to see the footage. So, that's yeah. That's
And I want to hear about it.
Awesome. Good. Rolling on. Good question. Bad to the Bone, Paranormal. What do you think about the new slogan on her merch?
I haven't seen it.
Slogan.
Oh,
Evolved.
yeah.
What?
I heard about that before before
You can
the
spend
merch
money
came.
on merch, but you can't pay your employees.
Right. That has more to do with her and her spirituality than it does anything else. For Christ's sakes, they had a mug there that said
I
something.
have the mug.
Yeah. It says,
Don't fuck with us. We'll fuck with you.
Don't you know
Something
you
like that,
you
yeah.
fuck with us, we'll fuck with
And
you.
it
or
says the
something.
spirits at the bottom, as if that's a quote from the spirits. And I said, that is definitely the owner who made this. And I bought it for a reason, because it didn't make sense. That I'm like, these are supposed to be caring individuals that make pies and walk around in white, and just, loving spirits. And then all of a sudden there's this mug that had all this language. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I bought it, and I think it was like $25-$30 for this stupid mug.
Hell,
It was. I bought because I was there.
And I just said the F-bomb. I don't do that very often. So
I was there on.
You said it twice really quick, Dawn.
June 2nd. I was there for my tour, and I got a T-shirt, a mug. I bought a ridiculous $5 vial of well water.
I saw that. I remember seeing the.
Wow, they should be selling dirt.
Yeah.
I thought it would be much dirtier, but it wasn't. I didn't see the mug you're talking about, but I mean that's just. I think that's kind of.
I don't have it with me. I have my Kenny Biddle mug instead of my.
Let me see it. Let me see.
It's that thermal. It's out in the other room though.
Okay.
I don't have it right now. I have my Kitty Corvette
You
mug.
want me to go get it for you?
You can go
Okay.
get it. if you
Go
want.
get it. I want to see it.
It's in that blue bag.
All right. Next question. Please, Kathy Lee. So, what's the difference of the lady in white, lady in red, and lady in black? I think.
Alice.
Honestly, I think just the standard legend is just always a lady in white because the ghostly white and
Well,
like
this
they
is
grow.
like kind of a follow-up question.
Lady in white, a woman who murdered,
Where's
drowned.
my
Oh,
tongue?
look at that cup!
My tongue. Whoops. Go this
That's
way.
awesome. I love it.
I want one.
I love it.
Lady in white is also a lady on the side of the road, or it's just a generic ghost term.
So, lady in red and lady in black don't mean anything.
So, Lady in Red is obviously a song. Lady in Red.
But paranormal wise, it doesn't mean anything.
He's dancing with me.
There you go. Duet.
Cheek to cheek.
Lady in Black. I don't think I've ever actually heard that. A Lady in Black. I don't know. But I think the standard description of a female ghost from Victorian age is usually a lady in white. And I can't tell you how many I've come across because the books on these shelves here, actually those shelves right there and above, there's like 3 or 4 shelves worth of regional book stories or books with ghost stories, different towns, cities across the U.S., across the world, and there's dozens and dozens of ladies in white. It's just a standard. That's it.
Right.
And is it more because of how we like if we were to see a shadow figure that we may not see the color?
Well, if it's a shadow figure, it would be black, but
Black, white.
I think it stems from the idea that, like in Victorian times, if you had a ghost story, usually it was a woman that was murdered or she died in her sleep, and she's wearing like night clothes, which were usually a light
White.
color or white color, and therefore that's what she is wearing as a ghost forever. So I think that's where it came from.
Where's the ghost in tracksuits?
That's for
Those-
like,
yeah, that's when we die, people will start seeing like the new age ghosts. Where,
Oh yeah, I can just
parachute
fucking
pants.
see it now. I can really. Oh, look at that! He doesn't shave, and he's got an attitude problem.
All right. Let's see. Wisdom. If Jason Hollis believes the staff of the Conjuring House have spoken with spirits there, why is it hard to believe that the owner has spoken to spirits too? Or is it just fake medium fight? Jason?
I don't think I've heard Jason House ever say anything like that.
Right.
In fact, Jason Halls actually said he doesn't believe it to be haunted. He's never
Yeah.
seen anything there. But I get the question.
Yeah.
That Mr. Grey said the same thing. A lot of people are being very like, right, she's mental, but everyone else is going there talking to ghosts. Fine. And I get that.
I mean, for me, it should be obvious. I don't think the place is haunted at all. I have had a chance to walk through.
The loudest walk you've ever done, huh?
My fat ass was making the whole second floor shake. But like I went through, I see no reason for it to be haunted. I see no good evidence for it to be haunted. I think there's a lot of mistakes, and that's usually my go-to. That's because it's the honest answer. I think most ghost hunters that go there are misinterpreting the data, making mistakes in judgment. They don't understand photography or how the microphones and audio work. So they're making misinterpretations of a lot of things. So when it comes to this, I think there's an extreme. It's not just a bunch of ghost hunters that go there one night and then walk away and say, "Oh, I think I got some voices. I think I got a mist. I think I got that." This is a person that's constantly putting out statements. Not only statements that there's experiences, but statements where real world problems and what's the word I'm looking for? Real world consequences, because a person literally lost his job because they claim a ghost talked to her and said that this guy was stealing, even though there's cameras in the fucking gift shop that would prove his innocence or if he was guilty. I mean, it would prove either way.
Right.
There was no attempt to check it. It was just the ghost told me. So that's on a different level. That's not just someone doing a hobby and walking away thinking like, "Oh, I think I got something. This is pretty cool." This is affecting people in the real world and having really serious consequences. Especially, I mean, I don't know Brian, but from what I hear, like he needs certain medications and now he can't afford it because he lost his job. And that's just shitty all around. It doesn't matter about the paranormal. It doesn't matter any of this shit. It's just, you just don't do that.
No, and as an insurance professional too, and business person, when you have theft from employees, you report it to your bond company, and then they do an investigation, and they're going to ask for video footage. Where's all that happening?
Right.
If she believed it, she's got to go that route because the insurance is going to require it. She's making a claim, essentially, not just a paranormal claim, but an insurance claim.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Awesome. Thanks, Tim. Tim Binga is our librarian here at CFI. So quick look up there. Awesome.
Do you already say it for people that aren't reading the?
Oh, well, they should read it. Quick search. Lady in white is loss through death, child tragedy. Lady in red is a jilted lover ghost, and lady in black ghost appears to cheating men. Well, that's why we haven't seen any. Boom! Vindicated.
Not seen one. I'm a good person.
I haven't seen one either, so.
All right. Kaylee J, do you think they staged the house for investigations?
No.
Initially, no, but now I've got no faith in anything that comes out of it.
Well, I'll say this: the pipe work does bang, because we were hearing some banging sounds. I went into the bathroom. I heard something bang in a cabinet. I opened the cabinet door.
That was
water pipes. That was water pipes.
Do they allow you to go in there like I did? I recently went to 30 East Drive and I walked in. I was like, the boiler bangs all through the house. So I turned it off. But this light, you may have to turn that off. And I was allowed to do that without any sort of implications or interference. Can you do that in the Conjuring House?
No, it's like one of those smart systems. We weren't able to, and it drove me nuts because it was like every 30 seconds the fan would kick on the heater, and then eventually the heater would kick back on, and it was constant.
But it was also really cold, and you don't want freezing pipes too at certain times. So
Yeah, fair.
One thing I will say, like I don't think. I mean, again, I'm not there for all of these experiences, but I don't think a lot is staged. However, I will say that I'm very suspicious of the latest video that they had put out, where the lights flicker in the dining room, because the tour guide is in there. They have a group of tourists, and the lights kind of flicker, and they all laugh. Yeah, like just like that. And I mean, the video that's put up is obviously from a cell phone that's taking video of a monitor that's in a security room that I think is in that back room on the other side of the gift shop. But like that, my main question is like, where's the owner during this? Like that, this is a pre-recorded session that was being recorded on a phone. Like, where was the owner during this time? Who? Because no one. Like, I looked at that video over and over again. Not one person in that room looked around. Nobody looked to see if somebody was at a light switch or anything. It was just they were there. That's it.
I have a video for members. Not out yet, but I did mess with the light switches.
Oh, yeah, that'll be interesting to see then.
But it's easy to do. I mean,
yeah,
it's a ghost.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
And if you have no one watching you, I mean, it's easy. And I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but
I'm not.
that's the first thing that comes up, you know. And where's? I know they have cameras in every fucking room, so where's the other footage? Let me see everything timestamped. Let us, the public, see it all, not just that little narrow window that you want us to see.
Yeah, and this is a fucking huge problem in the paranormal. It's like, if we question something, you're horrible, evil, nasty disbelievers. And as much as me and Kenny Biddle disagree, or as much as me and Joe Vitale disagree, and we do, and it's all open and honest for everyone, please, for the love of fucking God, somebody send us something where we're like, I got nothing. That could be paranormal. That's fucking epic. That's wow.
I mean,
But for the most part, I'm just sat here. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
I use multiple cameras. I try to cover everything, make sure that we are all in view, everyone's accounted for. And I review everything in front of us, although I can't necessarily do that with this other location because apparently somebody's a tattletale and reporting back. But you know, that is something that needs to be done. All angles, as many angles as you possibly can. Everyone accounted for. Everybody, on camera. And that it doesn't happen, and it leaves things open, for us to question. People would have less of an issue with like debunkers or others if they would show, use other cameras, show everything.
yeah. Most of them don't give a shit about debunkers because we're just horrible people.
Well,
And I'm like, are we really the horrible people for looking at stuff and then saying, well, no, that's natural.
Right.
I'm harder
There's
on
nothing
myself.
nasty with that.
Yeah,
Penny's the least nasty, or right. Me and Joe get very invested in it, very personal in it. We fucking go with people. Penny doesn't do that. Penny is like, right, this is what you're claiming. This is scientific fact. This is my experiment on that, and this is my camera footage. Have at it. And then he's called toxic, and I'm like, for what?
right.
That's exactly how every paranormal channel should behave, and I try to take what Kenny teaches me into my investigations. And still, I will get carried away on occasion, like, fuck. Ooh, something's just happened. Editing. All right. Cut that out. But it's like, we're all evil, nasty, horrible people for it. None of us are. Or we wouldn't interact with each other. If Kenny was a dick, I wouldn't be here.
Well, I mean, Kenny is a dick, but he's the kind of dick that I would be friends with. So
I mean, there are times though. Here's yeah. I mean, I've seen Kenny make people cry in Gettysburg. That's true. I have done that, but I've done it in a very polite way. So.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Not when you made him cry.
Stop. All right. How about we take another break? A quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll do a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up because I know it's really late for Beardo.
It's 3 a.m. for me. I need to sleep.
All right, one more quick break. I'm gonna play our break commercial thing again. So I don't know about you, but I gotta pee. So we're gonna take a break, and then we'll come right back. Now.
And now for something completely different.
Welcome, my fellow skeptics. Welcome, one and all. I am the chief investigator. Oh, come along, old chap. We will have a ball. Now, if you will excuse me, it's time to open the mic. Good night. Good night. Kenny Biddle remain investigating's my game, and I will have at it. Quid pro quo. As the head of this committee, hunting for ghosts can be shitty, but there is nothing better that I know. I am a skeptic through and through. I question everything, don't you? Let's open the bar and have some questions, alright. Maybe you might find an answer or two. I will find the truth this night and day. And if my name is not Kenny Biddle, then I assure you here I will not stay. Good day! Kenny Biddle's the name, goes hunting's the game. I won't let anything get in my way. Too many fakers out there, too many chefs, too many toe tappers, none of it makes any sense. I am a skeptic through and through. I question everything, don't you? Let's open the bar and ask some questions, alright. Maybe you might find an answer or two. Who knows? There may be ghosts in the machine, but trust me, I am not so keen. I prefer to see these things clearly, not in 144p. I am a skeptic through and through. I question everything, don't you? If you don't think I am right, let's open night night. Yeah, yeah. I am a skeptic through and through. I question everything, don't you? If you don't think I am right, let's open mic night. Yeah. If you have an answer or two, let Kenny Biddle solve it for you. Let Kenny Biddle solve it for you. The one and only Kenny Biddle. Kenny Biddle. Kenny Biddle.
Oh, I cut it short. All right, we're back. Because Donna's getting tired. We don't usually do in the 3 hours. We do 2 hours.
One question.
Sure.
Kenny, was there a photo of you there with blue hair?
Yes.
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 Second one's not a question. Your wife has lovely legs. There was that one photo where we saw your wife with legs and shorts.
How I'm supposed to take that?
Thank
As a compliment, Kenny. As a compliment.
you.
Roll the dice. We'll accept it. All right. All right. So we have a ton of questions, and I apologize to everyone. We're not going to get to all of them because there's literally like 20 some questions that are still in the queue. Alex asks, where did this theme song come from? I love it. That came from the Freedy Show. That YouTube channel created that. So I think, Beardo, I think it was you. Was it you? Somebody said, I think it was you that said I needed a theme song. Yeah. And you did it when we were talking on your show, and you said, I need a theme song. And the next morning, I literally woke up, and there were 2 links, 2 emails, and the opening song in the intro, and then that song was in there. And I was like, oh, my God. I was going nuts. I made all of my coworkers listen to it because I was like, listen to this shit. People made songs about me.
All right. Moving on.
And then I needed an outro, so I said that. I got an outro video. All right, John Paris. Who would you say is more responsible for the hauntings, the Perrins or the Warrens?
Both.
Warrens.
Both. Because first off, that information, the bad information about Bathsheba Sherman came from Carolyn, and then she passed it on to the Warrens, and the Warrens ran with it.
Right, but if the Warrens were actually psychic mediums and demonologists, they could have told the bullshit.
Well, the truth doesn't make money.
Fuck the Warrens. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And Joe, you're spot on. I mean, my research has shown that, yeah, Carolyn. Well, let me say it this way. Andrea claimed that Carolyn came up with the information, but Andrea was the one that put it in her book and put it out there, and also said that Lorraine came in, read the book, and then started promoting all this stuff going on. And as the Warrens always do, they take someone else's story and they make money off of it. So they did their lectures, they had the book written, they do all this stuff to profit off of it, and usually don't share it with the original story creators. So,
or anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So I put it more on, I mean, personally, I put it more on the parents, specifically Andrea. I think it's mostly her fault. Cynthia Starr, what dates did the Perrin family live there? So they lived there from January of, I believe, 1971. And then the official sale date to the new owners was April 14th, 1980. And this is the warranty deed from that.
No, if I'm not mistaken, Andrea did not live there the entire time. I believe at some point, like within the first few years, she actually moved out, I guess, college or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, don't hold me to that.
So she was in 73 when the seance, which was not a exorcism, took place. She was 15. So she would have been, I mean, towards the end. I think the last year or two is when she would have moved out, but she was there for the most part, most of it. All right, cool. Next question. Doing good. So what's the story behind the name of the house?
The movie.
Yeah.
That was an easy one.
It was the Arnold Estate Farm, wasn't it?
It was the Arnold Estate, the Richardson farm. So the Conjuring came from the movie. That's where that name came from, and they just ran with it because it was popular. So cool, good. That was an easy one. Night Gallant. Oh, that's a cool name. Do the ghosts haunt the house or the people? If the original people the ghost haunted are dead, why will it stay? Well, I mean, that's a tough one because, again, like Norma, I mean, this is a known fact, but it's a little known fact. But Norma Sutcliffe, She operated a daycare out of there for over a decade. So I mean, she operated a daycare out of there. I don't think it was. To me, it wasn't haunted. I think the stories came later. And again, the rise of like Amityville and other things like that gave rise to the idea like we can make money off of this. Let's do it.
Now, allegedly, real quick, allegedly there is a drawing of a crooked neck lady that was done by one of the kids that was at the house during the time it was a daycare. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what we were told. I don't know.
So I asked Norma about that, and I mean, that was something that was not known until after she had sold it. There is no knowledge of that. That never came to be until after she was there. Okay. So it's very suspect to me that it's there, and if it has anything to do with it, I mean, honestly, it doesn't. So what? And I'm going to show you.
It looks a lot newer than what
it does look. I think it was placed there. I really do think it was placed there, and just for people to see, that's what we're talking about right there.
That's any fucking 4-year-old's drawing of a human body.
Yeah, almost. I mean, maybe that's a picture of, I don't know, somebody bending down to pick something up. Hell if I know.
Or they walked in on their parents.
Well, there's a lot missing there, but you know, I'll leave it to your imagination.
Yeah, 12 kids, 10.
But the other one was a ghost.
I mean, you have to look like this is the entire board, so that's everything on there. And I mean, there are drawings. These are crappy kid drawings,
yeah,
or crappy adult drawings. And this could be This could be somebody laying down. This could be a dog. I don't know, but I mean, it's not something that I would say.
It's a crooked neck lady. Let's be honest.
It's a great part. It's a great part of the movie, though.
Yeah, and that's it. Like that's the only reference to the crooked neck lady is from Andrea Perrin, and then the movie. There's nothing else to consider because that all came from the idea, like from what Susan Arnold apparently hanging herself, which didn't happen.
Right.
It didn't happen. So it was a completely fabricated story.
Oh, wait, no, I thought it was Bathsheba Sherman who hung herself, and that's the crooked neck lady.
It depends on what version you hear. So, and there's even a different version when you have Keith and Carl Johnson, because they wrote a different story about it that involves a hanging, but it was a different person. So, yeah, all made up. All right, next. What else we got? Wisdom. What is true, Throw? Did the staff quit or did they get fired?
Fired.
Do you think so?
No, they I was being sarcastic.
Okay.
They quit. They posted all of the evidence we need to see. They quit. And she backtracked and said ghost. Right.
I mean, I saw the documents. I mean, it was legit. Everything looked good. They quit. And I think the owner was just trying to save face. I think she was trying to make it look like she was in control. So
Jason put it all out there on that live stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Moving on. Tara, if Jackie has other businesses, is she the same with them too? I have no idea.
I was told she has two businesses. One of them, I believe, is development and real estate or something like that. And then the whole thing with the Conjuring House is a separate business.
Okay.
I wouldn't trust her with fucking Lego.
I wouldn't.
Right.
That's my personal opinion. I can't get sued for that.
Tashi, what's up? What are your thoughts on some owners of the house not having any paranormal happenings and others do? It's good. I mean, I don't recall So it's very difficult to take the Perrin's story seriously because it was reported so long after the fact. Yeah, I did talk to Carl. I have talked to seen other things where allegedly stuff went on, but it doesn't seem to be as big as it seems. Later telling.
Yeah, I was gonna say the owner after had accounts of could be, couldn't be, but nothing like scary.
Right.
Nothing major.
Norma, I went up. We went up and talked to her. We met her, hung out with her for a day, and just she's a very she's got some. She's zazzy. I'll leave it at that.
She's a firecracker.
She's a firecracker, man, and like if she doesn't like you, you know it. So, but I mean, luckily she liked me, and we got along really well. And I mean, she had people in there for more of a joke. She didn't take it seriously. She never thought it was actually haunted. The little things that might have come out, it was very like tongue in cheek kind of thing. But never any like specific claims. So, and even before that, there were no stories before that, except for the parents. It's all on the parents, and the fact that they borrowed, if not stole, all these tragic stories from other people, from other places, just tells me a lot about their credibility. So I'll leave it at that. Brett Walker, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Thank you, Kenny, Joe, Dawn, and of course, Kenny and Mrs. Biddle. Mrs. Middle. You're Mrs. Middle. So much fun. Isn't that drawing from Mike Flanagan film Haunting of Hill House? Ooh.
Yes, the broken neck lady. But it was a drawing there. Yeah.
Right. That came much later. So, all right. Yeah. Next question, please. Pesci.
We did this one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Kathy Lee. People that lived in the Conjuring House for most years didn't have any paranormal events. If things really happen to some, do you think it's only certain people it will happen to? Sure. It's money.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a belief that, real quick, that there are people who will experience paranormal activity and others who won't. Even if a home is allegedly haunted, there may be people who come in there, live there, and not experience anything at all. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy into that idea. I mean, if we all share similar biology, so if people are seeing things, I should too. If they hear things, I should too. Unless it's a more of a mental health issue, I think everyone that walks in there has the potential to see, hear, or experience what they claim is happening. And if they're not, then maybe it's the specific people and not the house or ghosts. So something to look into. All right, cool. We're getting there. We're actually getting through these.
Going through.
Mrs. Geek is still here. Yes. As I'm in UK, the Conjuring House was investigated by the Warrens. Do you believe what they said about the house? I may have missed it if it was asked before. I will just say right off the bat, I would not trust anything whatsoever that the Warrens claimed. Would not.
I have zero faith in anything the Warrens.
Yeah. I mean, it's just they were out to make money for themselves. They were not out to help people. All the information that I've gathered on them, they were not out to help people. They were out to make money off of those people, to exploit them. And I mean, we've seen it from authors they've hired. They exploited people. So anything they say, no, I don't trust any shit that they say. Jody Music, thank you for the $2 because Dawn, Donna, and Mrs. Geek are saints. That is true. That is true. They put up with us. So true. All right, running down the line here. Air Force One. Dude, I like that name. Question, Kenny. What is your opinion on the apparel of ghosts coming with them. Apparel.
That was when you're talking about ghosts,
Sorry.
like wearing outfits and stuff like that, apparel.
Oh, what's your opinion on the apparel of ghosts coming with them? I mean, I've always had that problem. Like, clothing is not alive or dead. It's shouldn't have a spirit. There should be naked ghosts. I would, in some instances, I would prefer a naked ghost. In others, I would not.
I was gonna basically say the same.
It really depends on the ghost.
Yeah.
At least you'll know if I'm a ghost.
Yeah.
Man titties, baggy ass, big beer belly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think when people tell me about ghosts and the description of the clothing, I don't understand the concept of why clothing comes back. Unless you want to get into some kind of projection or something, and then you're just speculating upon speculation upon speculation. It's just building. So
Usually that would refer to as residuals, but I don't consider something like that paranormal anyways, and that's for a topic for another discussion.
Oh, you naysayer.
skeptic.
Somebody did have that question out there if you thought it was a residual haunting.
So residuals are not. I mean, that's more of a tribal knowledge thing. It really doesn't have any basis. Actually, I think the belief came from the stone tape theory, which was a really cool, ahead of its time film. If you have a chance, go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's available for free. So go watch it. It's kind of like along the lines of Ghost Watch, because it's like just ahead of its time. But the stone tape theory was that idea of a residual, and different people could pick up different parts. Like one person would just hear the ghost, another person would just see the ghost and not hear it. Somebody else would have both, and it would just replay over and over again. To me, I don't think there's no recording mechanism going on, and there is no recording media which can be used.
Wait, is the playback feature?
Yes. I mean, I would think that most people would say it's the person that's the playback, if they have psychic abilities. But again, show me. Like, where is this ability? Where is this ability coming from?
How much are you guys offering right now? 10 grand?
We have a $500,000 challenge.
Take them up.
There you go. All right. Next question. Haley J. Do you think the natural creaks and noises in the house are being played upon to fit the narrative now? It's highly suspicious that people aren't allowed to investigate and debunk.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, yep,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah. It was funny. When I went there on June 2nd, and the birthing suite. So that little attic that's off the one bedroom.
Right.
They open the door, the one where it's very low and there's hundreds of nails coming through the boards. I was told that this is where they would take women to give birth, and I was like, I don't think so, because there's nails all over the place. When you see the what's inside this room, it's ridiculous, and it is unbelievably hot in there. But just a week later, I think it was only 4 days later, Stevie from Truth or Demons podcast, she was there. I just missed her by 4 days, but she took the tour, and they weren't allowed to go in there. So it was off limits. And I kind of was like, I don't know if that was me, because I asked a lot of questions about that they couldn't answer. So I don't know if they just closed it off or what. But
we investigated it.
Yeah.
Actually, my son, he went in there by himself. The door was open. But yeah, there's a lot of nails.
There's tons of nails in there. I mean, and they're only like 2 or 3 inches apart. And there's just rows and rows. Like, damn, like I can't stand up in here. And I don't want to stand up because
my son is 6'3", 6'4". So he about had to crawl.
Yeah. All right. Next question. please. We've got wisdom. If someone is hearing voices, how would you prove that? Huh. Well, I guess if they're hearing voices, we would actually have to, if they truly believe that they're hearing a voice coming from an intelligent entity, then you could obviously test it by saying, all right, well, like I have a piece of paper here with a word that I put on it. Tell me what's on there. Something as simple as that would be one test. If that's not possible, if they can't hear the voices or it's not communicating with them in a two-way conversation, then I guess you would have to just write down what is allegedly being said and see if there's any testable claims or any checkable facts that are being stated and go from there.
Your first port of call would have to be schizophrenia. It would have to be. Rule out everything else.
Well, that wouldn't be up to me.
No, we could do it by
we
any
could.
stretch.
Right. I would.
We never claim to. We would never ever claim to be able to do that.
I had 2 days ago, a gentleman called me and his wife was having strange experiences. And the first thing I said, based on the information he gave me, was, have you talked to your family doctor yet? And he's like, no. It's like, well, that's the first thing I would suggest you do. Talk to your family doctor first. Go through whatever course of suggestion that he suggests. And then after that, if you still think something's weird going on, give me a call back and we'll talk a little bit more. But I'm not going to touch it until you talk to your doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And he thanked me, and that was it. So hopefully, I mean, not in a mean way, but hopefully I don't hear from him again. And it's resolved. So cool.
Right.
All right, I think we have one more.
There's also,
go ahead.
Real quick, there's also another, I think it's called boom syndrome, where people can hear like what sounds like gunshots or voices, and this happens when you're tired, when you're getting ready to go to sleep, things like that. That is a thing. It's not a mental disorder. It's a thing that happens.
Okay.
So there, I mean, there's that.
That's cool. I mean, I don't the weirdest stuff that I do, and I don't know if anyone else experiences this. When you're falling asleep, you get that like shock. Anyone get that? Like that?
Yeah.
Shock, and you're like, whoa.
Like you're falling for a split second. It's like you just gravity's got and you
so weird.
do that with your arms for no reason.
Or your legs, just like
I'm trying to play.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep, and you're just about to fall asleep, and your legs like, the fuck you are.
The worst one is when you fall asleep for 30 minutes in the light, and you wake up and it's dark. And you're like, fuck, how many days have I been out for?
How long have I been here? What time is it? 44? Good. All right. We have one more?
One more, because, we did weed out a lot of questions.
Okay, good. Kenny, question. We do agree that science gets a lot wrong before it gets it right. Do you think science has it right at this point? So it's a difficult question to answer, because we're not talking about one specific thing. We're talking about a plethora of experiences that often have logical conclusions, but usually misidentified. In my line of work, in my experience, most of my investigations are the result of misinterpretation. Not because science got it wrong, it's because it was misinterpreted. And when we reevaluate, we really look at it closer, we find an actual cause for it. And then we can move on because the mystery's solved. There is some science into it, and that goes across different disciplines. So, and that includes photography and video editing, but also biology and chemistry and physiology. So there's a lot of sciences that we can bring into it to understand what might be happening, especially when it comes to mental health issues. And again, we've talked about that a lot tonight, but there's a lot that we can look at that we do know for sure because we've tested over and over and over and over again. So if you're when you're asking, do I think we got it right at this point? Again, it's very difficult to answer because we're not talking about one specific experience. We're talking about a wide range of experiences that go across many disciplines and many methods. So I think for the most part, for the majority of it, we do have the science right. And it's just the people that are at the front lines are amateur hobbyists. They're not scientists. So you have a lot of hobbyists that are, to be frank, pretending to be scientists, and they're not.
Right.
So that's something that we have to consider and understand.
Yeah.
So,
In order to be right somewhere, you got to be wrong.
yeah. And I mean, that's not to say that I've been right all the time. I've been wrong plenty of times. And I'm sure all of us have been wrong quite a few times. You know,
I've been wrong, and I bring a video out saying I'm wrong. And I did one, Penny, I think you disproved something. I was like, shit, I was wrong. Penny, you said this. Same wavelength, it was fake, but I was completely wrong about how. And that's important. It's important to be honest.
Right. And that's what that's one of the things that I like and I respect about you and your channel is because we talked about it, and it wasn't just because I said something was wrong. It was because I was able to show you and demonstrate and say, look, you know, this is what the conditions were. This is what you would normally get. And after realizing that, you put out another video and said, yeah, I was wrong, and owned it. And I think that's the most respectable thing that you can do in our community, the debunking community.
Right.
It's just a shame Amazon will not accept a refund because Kenny Biddle said that doesn't fucking work. I spent so much money on shit. It's like, Kenny,
and you know, Dawn and I, we went to a location to investigate, and it wasn't made clear that a certain individual had died in this location, and I made the mistake of investigating as if the guy did die there. And when the episode comes out, I'll admit I fucked up.
Oops. All right. So I think that's it. For everyone that's watching, I know there were a lot of questions that I think we kind of answered throughout the show. So if we didn't get to your question specifically, I apologize. It's just we're supposed to be a 2-hour show. We're already at 2 hours and like 40 minutes. So we're well over it. And I know Beardo needs to get some sleep soon.
I'm on fumes here. Fucking fumes.
I know you did your live stream earlier, then you stayed up to do mine, which I really, really appreciate because it was a lot of fun having you and you brought.
I like to support the good guys.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So you guys,
I'm Joe.
As we wrap up, anything you like to promote? Like, what are you guys doing? What do you have coming up? Beardo, what do you got coming up?
The usual, pissing people off, honest investigations, and trying to get the word out about decent channels, investigators, etc. If you're seeing channels in the community here, they worth a shit because they'll accept opinions. Go and subscribe to them.
Awesome. Joe, Dawn?
Starting the 11th, we do have premieres happening.
And next Tuesday, I have my 3rd shoulder surgery. So just keep me in your thoughts and prayers.
Good luck.
Are you going to get a bionic shoulder? Or are you going to be like,
I already have a bionic shoulder. They're going to remove the hardware and do a rotator cuff repair.
And then there may or may not be an investigation in the next week or two, but I don't think Dawn's going to be able to join us for that. But
all right,
that's pretty much it.
So for me, everyone that's watching, you guys, if you don't mind hanging out for a second. So what do I have coming up? I have next Thursday night. I'll be hosting Skeptical Inquirer Presents. It's Skeptical Inquirer's podcast that we do, and I'll be hosting Jim Underdown, who is the director of the CFIIG, who does the $500,000 challenge. So he's going to do a presentation on people that apply, how you can apply, what to expect, the rules, the testing. We just did a test here a week ago for a dowser. The dowser came here claiming that he could find an object no matter what it was, and we tested him for the $500,000. So that was exciting to me. So there's that, and then September 6th and 7th, I'll be in. We're going to be in. Where is that? Benner's Campground. It's
outside Pittsburgh somewhere.
It's outside Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. It's the Bigfoot camping weekend, Pennsylvania Bigfoot camping weekend. I'm going to be a speaker at the Bigfoot event, which is the first time I'm speaking at a Bigfoot event, so I'm kind of concerned.
Lead balloon.
Tomatoes.
Not a gun. So we'll see how that works out. And of course, I can't go without saying that October 24th to 27th is our big science conference called SciCon in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll be hosting a workshop out there with Richard Saunders, who is from Australia. He's my counterpart in Australia. And we're going to be having a good time. So if you're interested, check it out on the centerforinquiry.org for more information. Everyone else, thank you guys. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Beardo, for joining us. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for hanging out and asking awesome questions and hanging out with us for the whole time. And
thank you, Donna.
And Donna, yes, for keeping it going. Because if she wasn't here to keep the questions going, I would be totally lost. So far behind. But with
I'm
that,
glad Joe said that.
With that, I'm going to play the outro. If you guys don't mind, hang out for a couple minutes until after it's done. We'll chat before you go. Everyone else, I'll see you next week. I think next week. Wait, what's next week? Next week is, let's see, the 9th. On the 16th, I'm going to have Stevie from the Truth or Demons podcast.
Awesome.
She's going to come on. We're going to talk about Annabelle and the Warrens and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that because she is a wealth of information. All right. With that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, diddle diddle, here's a little riddle. Who's the best debunker? Is it Kenny Biddle? Oh, he's good, not just a little. Not at the bottom or even the middle. Strike a chord like a fiddle. Tasting the rainbow like a Skittle. That's fragile and brittle. You can watch him take a problem and start to riddle the problem away. He does not play. He takes his job so seriously. He loves a challenge and won't turn you away. He's such a skeptic, he keeps those believers at bay. Exposing the fake. It wouldn't take him long to find a needle in hay. Use a magnet, damn it. Now take a drink of Kenny's specialty. Some may say that's not for me. To each their own, what it will be. Man, Kenny's such a skeptic, drinking skeptical tea. Like and subscribe, everybody turn notifications on. And go watch his show and forget about this song. Mr. Wizard or Bill Nye the Science Guy. Can you remember? You like Kenny better, so head to the skeptical help bar and meet the bartender. Pick up a drink and relax, cause nobody does this better. Not even close, not even a little. He's the one and only Kenny Biddle.